So let's kick off today's episode with a bit of an update. You guys have not seen Kumo on the show in a while because he decided to go chase a squirrel, and long and short of the story, tore his meniscus, which means he's hopping around on 3 legs nowadays, mainly sitting around watching old episodes. And he was watching that E400 Coupe episode, and he's like, you know, that reminds me, you have not shot a car with a star and a laurel on it for a very, very long time. And he is right. So I figured, you know what, let's call up the old folks at Daimler Benz AG and have them send one over. And I figured while we're at it, let's look at one that's at least easy on the eyes. And they sent this. Now there's a couple of things special about this E400 Coupe, specifically how it's equipped, which will impact this tech review, but more importantly, the coming first drive review. So make sure you come back for that as well. So with that, let's take a look at the first Mercedes-Benz product on the show in like 85 years. So in these tech reviews, I try to be rather unbiased and give you just the facts, ma'am. But from the outset here, I need to say this engine we have driven before and have loved it in many other Mercedes, specifically in that C43 sedan. Well, what engine is it? It's a 3-liter V6 twin-turbo, 329 horsepower, comes in at 5,260 RPM, stays flat all the way up to 6,000 RPM. As a basis of comparison, that is 88 more horsepower over the E300 sedan that we drove, what, a year and a half ago. 37% more horsepower. Let that roll around in your brain for a bit. Then the torque is 354 pounds, comes in at 1,600 RPM, very low engine speed, stays flat all the way up to 4,000 RPM. Then that sends the power to either the rear wheels, or in this case, all 4 wheels, through a 9-speed automatic transmission. And for the avoidance of doubt, that's one with a torque converter. Now this transmission, we've seen it like this engine in many other Mercedes. It's kind of the de facto standard, even in the V8s. So if you have been in pretty much any Mercedes-Benz with the exception of the G-Class, since we first looked at the S-Class in 2013, this will be no surprise to you. And yes, they have had some design theme changes based on the class of car, like the C-Class has its own interpretation. This one I think is the best combination of all the things available. Like for example, it's got the flat screen from the S-Class. I would argue I like the way BMW and Aston Martin do like the old school real bezel with a TFT screen behind it over this flat screen thing. Would love to see that change. But then beside that, there's more playfulness in this. Like they took the cut and sew from Cadillac to another level, and it's all can be customized. Like here, it's on the top of the door panels, right in front of the passenger, all the way on the top of the dash. And then add to that, they've pilfered the speaker grills as well as the vents from the S-Class Coupe, which it takes this away from being an E-Class and the way this specific one is put together. Like the seats are different than the sedan, and then the color, the beige with they call this a mocha Napa leather interior. This one, even, I'm not mad at the black piano finish with the lines. I actually like it quite a bit, and you know me, I like the satin finish wood. Other than that, this is just a magnificent place to be. Now let's press on to the bits that impact the driving dynamics, but normally in this segment we can differentiate between the front or the ass end of a car, not so much in the case of the E-Class because it's the same all the way around, which translates to an independent multi-link suspension with coil springs as well as gas charge dampers, then throw in a torsion bar front and rear for good measure. Then there are the brakes. The diameter of the rotors are the same front to rear, 14.17. The only thing that changes is the thickness of the rotors is more narrow in the rear. Then there are the wheels. The ones you're looking at on this specific car are 18-inch wheels. And then there's the actual size. It's somewhat misleading, the design. It looks smaller than it really is. The wheelbase, 113.1, the length 190 inches. As a basis of comparison, the sedan is a 115.7-inch wheelbase and 193.8-inch length. Then there's the materials this thing is fabricated from. The unibody, the structure of this vehicle, is made up of a combination of steel, high-strength steel, and aluminum. The outer body panels, a little less exotic at just basic steel sheet metal. Now, before we part ways for the day, there are two interesting fun facts I need to share with you. Number one, I know we talked about some of the construction in this. Well, it translates to a weight of the two-wheel drive, 4,057 pounds. Not exactly a lightweight, but get this, add the all-wheel drive system, it's only 143 pounds more at 4,200 pounds. Now, interestingly, that translates to no change in the fuel economy. So a two-wheel drive is 20, 26, 22 combined. The all-wheel drive is exactly the same. The only thing that really changes between the two is the all-wheel drive is a bit faster to 60. So that is everything in the tech review. Make sure you come back for the full first drive review, because there's something very interesting we need to discuss in the way this car is set up that will impact the way it drives. In the interim, I have been scratching my head wondering what the hell else is out there that competes with this, and there's a lot. So my question is, what would you buy? What would you consider this car competing with? Because there's so much out there in the, say, $60,000 to $80,000 US segment. Now me, I don't know if I would do something like this. Maybe I'd want something in like the Porsche realm that's 2 seats with a folding top. But then again, I'm a broken individual and only one man. So I'm gonna turn this around to you guys and leave you with this very question. What would you choose? This, or if you had $60,000 to $80,000 to spend, what would it be and why? And most importantly, let me know what region of the world you hail from and what you currently drive. Let me know in the comments below or via our social media, MotoManTV all word, MotoManTV all word, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, I'm going to say bis später until I see you in the full first drive review of the 2018 Mercedes-Benz E400 Coupe.